Good day, everyone. So, as a continuation of our discussion for the chapter one, actually, this is now the last topic for the chapter one, which is the animal tissue. So, let's try to define what is an animal tissue. So, pag sinabi natin na animal tissue, just take it down notes. Grupo sila. So, pag sinabi natin na animal tissues, these are usually groups ng mga specialized na cells na pare-parehas yung structures nila and they usually function para makapag-work together and makapag-perform yung specific task ng katawan ng animal. So that is what we call as animal tissue. Group of specialized cells that usually have similar na structures and they usually function as well. So for example, ano yung example ng animal tissue? So kung titingnan natin sa presentation, we have four: the epithelial, muscle, nerve, and then connective. So for example, in terms of nerve tissue, so yung mga cells na nag-specialize sa pag-conduct ng impulses, that is what we call as nagbubuo sila ng nerve tissue. Okay? In terms of connective naman, ito naman yung mga cells na nag-specialize para makapag-hold. Hino-hold nila together yung mga structures. That is what we call as connective tissue. Kasi as the name implies, it usually serve to connect other tissues. Yun yung ginagawa ni connective tissue. So parang nagbibigay sila ng form and at the same time ng strength sa mga organs and they usually provide protection and leverage. Pero often lang yung pag-provide nila ng protection and leverage. Ano yung usual na examples nito? So for the connective tissues, usually ang example dyan is yung elastic tissue, yung collagenous tissue, yung reticular tissue, yung adipose tissue, yung cartilage, yung bone. Those are connective tissues. They usually connect other tissues together. Now, in terms of epithelial tissues, usually ito yung nakikita natin, yung nagko-cover doon sa surface ng katawan ng animal. Okay, so that is what we call as epithelial tissue. They usually both external and internal and nakikita natin doon sa lines na sa mga various cavities and organs. Okay, so although iisa-isahin ko naman later on itong mga to. Then, for the muscle tissues, usually ang muscle tissues, they usually specialize sa pag-contract. And ano yung mga examples nito? We have the smooth, the skeletal, and then the cardiac. Yun yung ginagawa nila. They are responsible for the contraction and movement of the body. Okay, so these are the categories of animal tissues. So we have the epithelial, muscle, nerve, and then the connective. Okay, so we have here now yung epithelial tissue as number one. So iisa-isahin natin to. So pag sinabi natin na epithelial tissue, as what I have said, they usually play. Meron silang critical role doon sa katawan ng animal sa pagka-cover and pagla-line up ng mga surfaces para makapag-provide sila ng protective barrier and makapag-facilitate din ng mga physiological functions. So ano yung mga characteristics ng epithelial tissue? So number one dyan is they are usually found on the body surface. So meaning to say that it's internal or external na surface. So nakikita natin yung mga epithelial tissues, they are usually found doon sa surface ng internal and external structures ng katawan ng animal. So sila yung nagfo-form doon sa outermost layer ng skin. So that is what we usually call as the external epithelium. Okay? Yung outermost layer ng skin and yung lines doon sa internal body cavities and organs including yung mga digestive tract, yung respiratory system, and even with the blood vessels. Okay? So, yung external epithelium, that is the outermost layer of the skin. Yung mga blood vessels naman, yung mga body cavities, those are internal epithelium. That is why, as what I have said, they are found on the body surface externally or internally. Okay? So ano yung second one? They are tightly packed cells. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Yung mga epithelial cells, they are closely packed together with minimal na extracellular material or matrix between them. So etong pagta-tight nila, yung pagpapak nila tightly, ano yung purpose? It usually ensures now na very minimal lang yung gap or the spaces between the cells, and it usually provide an effective barrier against the entry now of the pathogens or any loss ng mga body fluids that I have already discussed. Okay, so that is tightly packed cells. Then number 3, free border or yung free apical surface. Okay, free border or free apical surface. Ano naman to? Yung mga epithelial cells natin, they usually have a distinct na free surface or what we call as the apical surface. So etong mga to, it usually faces yung body cavity or yung external environment. So yung presence ng free surfaces na to, it usually allows yung epithelial tissue na makapag-perform yung functions niya. Ano yung functions niya in terms of free apical surfaces? We have yung absorption, we have yung secretion, and we have yung reception or yung pagiging receptor ng katawan ng animal in terms of an stimulus. Yung diniscuss ko noon, yung sensory reception. Okay? So, they usually, the specialized cells, if you recall about yung mga villi doon sa small intestine in terms of absorption ng nutrients, di ba meron tayong tinatawag na microvilli. So itong mga microvilli na to, sila yung nag-expand doon sa part na yon para mas malawak yung nutrient absorption. So ito yung mga free surfaces na makapag-enhance ngayon. So ito yung ginagawa ni epithelial tissue. Okay, as one, free apical surfaces. Okay, and then another one, rests on a basement membrane. Ano naman to? Ang mga epithelial tissues naman or yung mga epithelial cells, they are usually firmly or naka-anchor sila sa isang basement membrane, which is usually maninipis lang sila pero a cellular layer na merong composition ng proteins. We have usually yung mga collagen and yung mga glycoproteins na to. You will encounter this one, yung mga glycoproteins, yung mga collagen in your nutrition. Okay? So yung basement membrane na meron etong epithelial tissue, nagse-separate now yung epithelial tissue from the underlying na connective tissue naman. Okay? So meaning to say, etong epithelial tissue, nagpro-provide to ng structural support, nagfa-facilitate din ng attachment, and at the same time, filtration barrier doon sa mga certain tissues. And then last one, non-vascular or avascular. Okay? So meaning to say, wala silang blood vessels within sa structure. That is yung ibig sabihin ng avascular or non-vascular. They lack blood vessels within their structure. So yung mga nutrients and oxygen, they are obtained through diffusion now from nearby na blood vessels in the underlying connective tissue na. Okay? So yung absence ngayon ng blood vessels will ensure that the epithelium or the epithelial tissue does not interfere with the selective exchange ng substances across doon sa layer nila. Okay, so that is what we call as non-vascular or avascular. Now for the epithelial tissue, usually meron tayong dalawang categories and this one or classifications. So based on the number of cell layers and at the same time that is on the cell sheet ng individual na cells. Okay? So for the first classification ng epithelial tissue, we have three: the simple, the stratified, and then the pseudo-stratified. And then for the second classification, we have based on the cell shape, we have the cuboidal, the squamous, and then the columnar. So let's start with the classification based on the number of cell layers. So, merong mga, yung picture dito sa taas, makikita nyo naman na to. So, we have the simple epithelium. Okay, parang ito kasi nasa picture is a combination now ng dalawang classification. So parang like for example, etong simple is squamous. So that is now a combination of number of cell layers and at the same time that is now the cell shape. So etong simple epithelium, pag sinabi natin na simple epithelium, meron lang silang single layer ng tightly packed na cells. That is what we call as simple epithelium. So, saan natin usually nakikita etong mga simple epithelium? It's usually on the areas wherein meron tayong nangyayari na absorption, secretion, filtration, and eventually yung diffusion ng energy. Okay, yung doon sa respiratory system. So if there's an area for that one and yun yung function doon sa part na yon, makikita natin yung mga simple epithelium. So ano yung usual na example for this one? We have the simple squamous, we have the simple cuboidal, and then we have the simple columnar. Etong simple squamous na to, it usually, saan natin nakikita to? It's on the linings ng mga blood vessels, pero doon sa endothelium na siya. Okay? So doon sa linings ng blood vessels, nakikita din natin tong simple epithelium doon sa ear sacs, sa lungs, which are the alveoli, and yung mga serous membranes na lining body cavities. Now for the simple cuboidal, meaning to say they are composed now ng cubed na shape na cells. So saan natin usually nakikita itong mga to? Sa mga kidney tubules. Okay? Sa mga kidney tubules, sa ductless glands, and yung mga surfaces ng ovaries. Nakikita natin itong mga to. And then we have the last one, we have the simple columnar. Ito naman is rectangular yung shape. Okay, rectangular na cells. So nakikita naman natin to sa mga linings ng digestive tract wherein yung mga merong cilia, okay, yung mga ciliated form, this could be found doon sa respiratory tract and doon sa uterine tubes. Now for the stratified epithelium, usually if for the simple epithelium, that is a single layer. For the stratified epithelium naman, that is usually multiple layers na siya ng cells with only the deepest layer in direct contact with the basement membrane. Okay? So ano yung usual na areas na nakikita natin tong stratified? It's usually if merong function yung katawan ng animal where protection against mechanical or chemical stress, nandoon yung mga stratified epithelium. So ano yung examples or varieties ng stratified epithelium? We have the stratified squamous, and then the stratified cuboidal, and columnar epithelium. So pag sinabi natin na stratified squamous epithelium, it's usually nakikita natin sa epidermis ng skin, doon sa lining ng bunganga ng animal sa mouth niya, and even doon sa esophagus and vagina. Nakikita din natin mga to. Now for the stratified cuboidal and columnar epithelium, hindi sila common. Parang these are usually less common, pero nakikita natin sa mga specific locations like yung mga large na ducts doon sa mga glands. Okay, doon natin nakikita tong mga to. Pero kung makikita din ninyo dito sa picture, meron tayo ditong transitional na epithelium. Iba naman to, si transitional epithelium. Si transitional epithelium, or we usually call this one as urothelium. Urothelium meaning URO, then thelium. Meron siyang unique characteristic, and nakikita natin to sa urinary system. Specifically doon sa mga urinary bladders, sa ureters, doon sa proximal part ng urethra, nakikita natin tong transitional epithelium or what we call as the urothelium. So ano yung usual na structure na it's under ito? It's usually, it is considered as a pseudostratified epithelium. Kasi it can change yung cell shape and yung thickness niya based on the organ's state of distension. Okay? Pero in a relaxed state, etong si transitional epithelium, pag relax siya, yung mga cells niya, it usually appear cuboidal or columnar with multiple layers. Pero if na-stretch isuna, okay, if na-stretch isuna, at kahit nasa wando na-stretch, when the bladder or when the urinary bladder is full. So di mapasama ki Jai, the cells will usually flatten and it will become squamous para i-allow na DJ tissue to expand without rupturing it. Okay? So yun yung appearance niya. In terms of function, ano yung usual na function ni transitional epithelium? It's usually for urinary system. Naka-focus talaga siya sa urinary system. So meron siyang ability na makapag-change ng shape para makapag-allow siya na ma-accommodate yung changes doon sa urinary bladder volume. Kasi si urinary bladder, it's parang it fills yung urine and at the same time it empties the urine. So when the bladder is empty, yung tissue, okay, etong transitional epithelium is usually thick, makapal isuna, and impermeable para ma-prevent the diffusion iti urine doon sa surrounding tissues. Pero if the urinary bladder is filled, nunapno isuna, agbalinso na impis and ag-stretch para ma-allow na the bladder nga may expand without increasing yung pressure sa bladder. Okay? And then we have the last one, the number of cell layers. We generally that is the pseudostratified epithelium. So they usually appears to be stratified kasi dito na papasok yung mga factors like yung variation ng cell heights, yung nucleus positions, mga ganun. And saan natin nakikita to? It's on the respiratory tract na lining, kung saan merong mga silya. Okay? Ano yung ginagawa ng silya? Ito is they usually help na makapag-move yung mucus and eventually trap yung particles out of the airways. Okay, so tapos na tayo for this one. Then we have the cell shape. So classification of epithelium based on the cell shape. So we have the cuboidal epithelium. Okay, pag sinabi natin na cuboidal, meaning to say cube yung shape niya with a central na spherical nucleus. So usually they are often involved sa secretion and absorption. So as what I've said kanina, yung cuboidal epithelium, they are usually found sa mga kidney tubules, yung mga glandular ducts, yung thyroid gland, doon natin nakikita tong mga to. Now, in terms of squamous epithelium, flat lang suda and thin. No makita yun to, they are usually flat. And then they are usually thin and flattened. Okay? So, tingwat pakakitaan tayo, it's usually on the alveoli sa lungs, yung lining ng blood vessels, and then yung epidermis. So, they are usually well suited for diffusion and protection. Now, for the columnar epithelium, rectangular sila din in shape with a nucleus located near doon sa basement ng cell. It's usually, Timot Obrada, is they are well suited for absorption and secretion. So sa mga digestive tracts natin nakikita tong mga to. Doon sa linings ng digestive tracts, nakikita natin tong columnar epithelium tissues. Okay, so this is just a summary of it. Okay, so tapos na tayo sa epithelial tissue. So we continue with the muscle tissue naman. So meron tayong different characteristics ng muscle tissue dito. So it says here, muscle tissue, number one is contractile ability. So muscle tissue contracts to produce body movement, and contraction is driven by the interaction of contractile proteins. We have the actin and myosin. So meaning to say, yung muscle tissue characterized is na by its unique ability na makapag-shorten or makapag-contract. Okay? So etong contraction na to, it's usually the interaction now ng mga contractile proteins. We have the actin and myosin, which usually ag-slide da, okay, they wish ag-slide past da, ijay may sakon may isa, causing the muscle fibers to shorten. Okay? So etong contractile property ng muscle tissue, i-allow na nga makapag-produce iti movement ijay animal's body. Okay? So etong muscle contractions, it can be voluntary as in the case of its skeletal muscles or involuntary as in the case of its smooth and cardiac muscles. Then number 2, cellular and vascular. So muscle tissue is highly cellular. It is well supplied with blood vessels to support energy demands. Okay? Si muscle tissue is highly cellular, meaning it consists predominantly ng mga muscle cells or fibers. Mas maiintindihan nyo to later on pag nandun na tayo sa muscular system. Okay? So etong mga to, si muscle cells or fibers, naka-specialize isuda for contraction and they are packed with contractile proteins. So to support the high energy demands ng muscle contraction, etong muscle tissue, it is well supplied with blood vessels. So etong mga blood vessels na to, they deliver oxygen and nutrients and they will remove waste products such as yung carbon dioxide and then yung lactic acid na na-produce during the muscle activity. Mas maiintindihan nyo to later on doon sa muscular system and pag na-take nyo din yung slaughtering, yung meat processing next semester. And then number 3, long and slender cells. So muscle cells or fibers are elongated and cylindrical in shape. So they are dito pagka-elongated dito elongated shape it's usually contributes now to the contraction or the contraction function now of the muscle tissue. Okay, very important itong pagiging elongated. Then they are often arranged in bundles or layers surrounded by connective tissue. So etong arrangement na to, it will provide now yung structural support and organization to the muscle tissue. Okay? And then number 4, connective tissue surroundings. So connective tissue layers provide structural support and organization. Layers, it usually include endomysium, perimysium, and then the epimysium. So yung mga muscle tissue daw dito, it is organized within the body by connective tissue layers. So etong mga layers na to, it usually include the endomysium. Pag sinabi natin na endomysium, it usually surrounds individual muscle fibers. Pag perimysium naman, it surrounded or it encircles yung bundles ng muscle fibers. And then pag epimysium, that is now the entire na muscle fiber. Okay? So etong mga connective tissue layers na to, very important sila in transmitting yung force na na-generate during muscle contraction, and they ensure na merong stability and integrity yung muscle. Okay? Then, last one, we have the actin and myosin proteins. So actin and myosin are specialized contractile protein. So meaning to say, these are responsible, etong mga proteins na to, these are responsible for the sliding filament theory ng muscle contraction. So if you want to have an advanced reading, you can watch any YouTube videos about the sliding filament theory para mas maintindihan nyo to. Okay? So they create cross bridges for muscle contraction. So meaning to say, pag yung actin and myosin will interact para makapag-create ng cross bridges, they usually allow now the muscle fibers to shorten when it is stimulated now by the electrical impulses from the nerves. So etong contraction na to, it is a result now ng muscle's ability na makapag-generate ng force and makapag-produce ng movement. Okay, so we have here the category of muscle tissue. So we have the skeletal, the muscular, and then the cardiac. Okay, we have the skeletal, smooth, and then the cardiac. So pag sinabi natin na skeletal muscle tissue, bale anasuda, multinucleated. Okay, multinucleated the muscle fibers or cells that are usually cylindrical in shape. Okay? So, kung makikita natin, multinucleated adojijay nucleus da. In terms of smooth muscle tissue, it usually single lang. Single lang yung nucleus. And then for cardiac, ganun din, single din yung kanyang nucleus. Okay, so we have here the smooth muscle. So the smooth muscle, that is involuntary in control, meaning agop-operate is muna without the consciousness of the animal. Okay, parang unaware ni the animal. So it is involuntary. What is specific part ng nervous system yung nagre-regulate ng involuntary control, it is usually the autonomic nervous system. Okay? So, wala silang conscious thought yung mismong katawan ng animal. Okay? So, usually, ang ginagawa ng mga smooth muscle tissues, they are responsible, of course, that they are responsible for involuntary movements such as yung Saan kasi natin nakikita yung smooth muscle? Nasa digestive tract. Okay? So yung mga peristaltic na contraction sa digestive tract, yung tinatawag natin na peristalsis, yung constriction, tsaka yung pag-dilate ng mga blood vessels, yung pag-contract ng mga reproductive tsaka urinary systems, those are the functions usually of smooth muscle. So in terms of homeostasis sa smooth muscle, yung autonomic nervous system and yung hormonal control ng smooth muscle, they usually help to maintain the homeostasis by regulating yung mga processes like yung blood pressure, yung digestion, yung reproductive functions, yung mga yon. So that is and how its smooth muscle tissue will contribute for the homeostatic mechanism of the animal's body. Now, for the cardiac muscle tissue, usually under involuntary lang detoy, involuntary control, and it is regulated also by the autonomic nervous system. So meron tayo ditong property. Okay, yung mga cardiac muscle tissues natin, they usually have this unique property. We call this one as the orthorhythmic or orthorhythmicity. Okay, meaning to say, they can generate electrical impulses spontaneously, initiating now yung contraction ng heart. That is what we call as autorhythmicity. Okay? So, etong autonomic nervous system, along with yung mga different nodes, yung mga sinoatrial node, yung mga atrioventricular nodes, mga ganun, they usually regulate yung rate and force ng contractions doon sa heart. Okay? So yung mga hormones ngayon na like for example yung adrenaline, this will now influence the rate and strength of the cardiac contraction, especially during stress or exercise. Okay? So ano yung ginagawa ni cardiac muscle tissue? Sila yung nagko-continuous sa contraction and pag-relax para makapag-pump ng blood yung heart throughout the circulatory system for the provision of course of the constant supply ng oxygen and yung mga nutrients sa body tissues. Okay. For the skeletal muscle tissue, it's usually under, ito yung naiiba, it's under voluntary control. Meaning, it can be consciously controlled by the nervous system. Okay? So parang it can be consciously controlled by an individual's will. So this is usually under parang namimediate is muna by the somatic nervous system. Kasi yung mga skeletal muscles, they are innervated ng mga motor neurons that usually originate doon sa central nervous system, specifically yung brain tsaka yung spinal cord. So etong mga motor neurons na to, they usually transmit electrical impulses to the muscle fibers. So ano yung mga usual na ginagawa nito? Yung mga contraction ng skeletal muscles in terms of precise and coordinated na movements such as walking, pinagtarayda, pinaglagto, and then even other conscious or voluntary activities. Okay, so ito na yung tinatawag ko kanina na for the smooth muscle tissue, meron lang silang single. Okay? Spindle shape, yung shape ng cell na to, or yung, for the cell of this one, with a single tissue. Okay? So, meaning to say, etong striations na to, that is the main reason why there is a smooth appearance under, if you will try to look at it under the microscope. Then for the cardiac muscle tissue, Ito kasi is diretsong, so iisa lang to. Si cardiac muscle tissue naman, composed ito na meron silang mga branches. Pero striated din sila with a single nucleus, tigi-isang nucleus. Pero they are usually interconnected. Etong mga yung mga branches na to, they are usually interconnected ng mga junctions which we call that one as the intercalated disc. Okay? And then the last one, we have the skeletal muscle tissue. So siya din yung naiiba kasi multi-nucleated. So kung makikita niyo dito, iisa lang yung nucleus. In terms of the skeletal muscle, marami. Okay, multi-nucleated na muscle fiber na to. So as what I have said, ito is just for, although this is a cylindrical in shape, so para makapag-generate sila ng force over a significant length, so meaning to say, they can be under conscious or voluntary control para yung animals, they can decide when and how to contract them. Okay?